Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello, everyone. Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Shana Recker. She is a business strategist with a passion for mindset. How are you doing this morning, Shana?
I am amazing, Brad. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this community and be here and share your story and your journey with the audience and with me. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm excited to do it and hopefully inspire some people.
I'm sure you will. So let's jump right in. So you have a creative design background, graphic design. Mm-hmm. You're a mindset coach, but most importantly, a business strategist. You went from hiring a mentor, which you couldn't even afford at the time, to 6 months later hitting your first 10K month as a coach. How incredible and mind-blowing was that for you? Like, did you just sit back and think, wow, how did this happen?
Yeah, it was definitely a moment like that for sure, especially because when I started my business, my coaching business, we were in a crazy space. My husband and we're both entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And, I had a very successful network marketing business, and he has had a successful design business. But we both kind of we both decided to expand our life a little bit too fast, too quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we kind of overdid ourselves, and then we found ourselves into a really tight space. And so, for me with the coaching, I had the idea to start a coaching business a year before I actually started.
Oh,
it was an idea that I got. I was following all these other coaches doing this stuff. And one day I was kind of like, why couldn't I do something like this? Like I'm successful, I was successful in network marketing at the time. And I was like, well, maybe I could create a coaching business to help other network marketers. And so that was the idea, but I have to admit, tons of imposter syndrome, and there was all these excuses that I gave myself as to why I couldn't do it. And then when life hit, my husband was the one who said, what about that coaching business? You could get that going. And, it was just felt like the worst time for me to start something.
Yeah.
And knowing that I would have to invest, I tried to do it on my own. I tried to Google all the aspects of how to start an online coaching business. But it just led me to frustration and stuff. And it was in that moment of feeling that pressure that I was like, my excuses just didn't hold water anymore, and I had to get going. So I tried the Googling route, didn't work. It just left me feeling frustrated and trying to figure out all of these things, because there's so many different ways you can build an online business.
Yeah.
Different methods and stuff. So I finally found a mentor. Mm-hmm. There was actually 2 mentors that I invested in the very beginning. And it was really difficult. I had to borrow the money from my mom. And my mom, thank you, Mom, for helping me get the mentorship that I needed. But that really was the fast track. That fast tracked my success, because somebody just laid out the steps for me and I just followed it. I was very coachable. It was like, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. And also the second coach that I had hired in that time, challenged me. And she said, because I said to her, I literally am barely affording to hire you right now. And she said, okay, well, let's make you the money. Do a group coaching program. I'm going to show you what to do, and you do it. And so I did it.
Yeah.
And I made the money. I made $10,000, which is exactly what I needed.
That's crazy.
But you know what the thing was, is that it taught me so many things. First of all, it taught me that you just need to put yourself out there. Stop trying to make everything perfect. I was in a position where I didn't have time to make things perfect. I was in a position where I was, kind of being squeezed, and I had to figure it out. And so I launched it messy. I launched it ugly. My landing pages were horrible when I look back at that now. The offer and the training that I did was great. And I had 10 people sign up, and at the time it was like $1,000 each. So it was, or just over $1,000 each. So I made it work. But what that taught me was that getting myself out there was what the most important aspect of, making something work. And that people would actually pay me. Cause that's the thing, when people become coaches in the online space, there's that imposter syndrome that sits in that goes like, well, who's going to pay me to do this? Like, who's going to pay me to teach them? And I had that same mindset, but when you just get yourself out there and share your truths and share what you know, people want to learn from you. It will attract.
Right.
And because people. I at the time was, 5 steps ahead of where they were, and they wanted to learn from someone who had done it.
Yeah. So but isn't that the worst though? I mean, when it's that self-limiting belief and getting that, and I've had this conversation, I don't know how many times over the past couple of weeks, but we need to learn to get the fuck out of our own ways. That's the biggest stumbling block for most people, I think, as entrepreneurs, or when they get into entrepreneurship. And as you mentioned, imposter syndrome, and why the hell is someone going to pay me? But that again is self-limiting, and that's us putting those limitations and stopping ourselves. It's a hard thing to learn. So for you, how long did it take you to get over that stumbling block? I mean, I know you said that you didn't have a lot of time to mess around, but how long did it take you personally to get over that stumbling block or imposter syndrome and get the fuck out of your own way to just do it?
Well, that by me putting myself out there in that way, launching it and doing a webinar when I really didn't know what I was doing, and having a landing page and doing all those things, but then having 10 people join me, that really showed me that I could do this. Like, it showed me that people would want to pay to learn from me, and that no matter, how perfectly or imperfectly I did things, that it was getting myself out there. That was the key to, being able to have the success that I knew that I could create. Well, I didn't know that I could create, but it showed me that I could create it. But here's the thing with imposter syndrome and this stuff, it doesn't ever go away. I have imposter syndrome today. I have imposter syndrome all of it tomorrow. Every new level that I move into in my business, it shows up. Like I'm dealing with it again right now in my business as I just hired my first marketing team. I'm about to execute another really big launch, bigger launch than I've ever done. And all of the doubts and the fears are coming back up again. So it's never a matter of it ever going away. You just learn how to move through it.
Right.
And just remember, the past experiences, remembering when you did that last thing and you didn't die, and you made it through it and you actually had some results. Right. And it's like you continually evolve. It just never goes away, but you get better at moving through it.
Yeah.
So it's just there, and you just have to maneuver it.
Isn't that, you had mentioned that when you first launched, how messy it was, and when you look back, but isn't that an incredible feeling when you look back and see when you started and you look at the path to where you are? Isn't that an incredible feeling when that shows you how much you've grown and how much you've improved, and that you've moved on to that next level? That's an incredible feeling when you can look back and see growth.
Yeah, 100%. It's like an unfolding. It's like everything's happening for you. Like, that happened for me. I learned from it. And this is what I tell my clients all the time is like, I want to see you somersault your way through your business. I want to see you have obstacles. I want to see you overcome them. I want to see you have things that challenge you. If everything was perfect all the time, there would be no growth. Like, that's right. Where growth comes from. And so it's like I look back at all those experiences, even the experiences that got me into my coaching business, even that financial shitstorm that my husband and I went through, which is a whole nother podcast on its own. But I don't look at that and go, oh, why did that happen to me? I look at that and go, I'm grateful that happened to me, because that's what led me to this.
That's right.
And then this led me to this. And I always say that there's never wrong decisions. Even if you make a decision and it turns into something that doesn't work out for you, it's taking you to the next place that will. And so you have to enjoy the journey, enjoy the unfolding, even when it doesn't seem like it's unfolding in the right way. Yeah, it is in some way, shape, or form, because it's teaching you something. And then from there, you find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
That's right.
So when they say enjoy the journey, that's the thing. Because what I know is when, I wanted a $10,000 a month from the day I started my business. And here's the thing, once I got it, it wasn't like this moment of like, oh my God, $10,000 a month. Like, it's here. Like, it wasn't like this crazy amount of joy. It just came and you're just like, okay, here it is. Now I want a $20,000.
Yeah. Now on to the next. That's right.
But what you've got to look at that and go, the joy for me was in the somersaulting my way through, to get that $10,000 a month. It was the journey to get there. That's where the most joy is when I think back to that time. it wasn't actually the money coming in and sitting in my bank. You know, it was everything that led up to it.
Yeah. And it's, I think part of it could be being able to, you hit that goal that you set for yourself, being able to achieve that goal that you set.
Yeah. And overcome the things that came up on the way to
right.
get there, and that you didn't quit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, all of these things shape our character, shape who we are. And like you said, it's all about the journey. You have to have these stumbling blocks to get through. And that's, you know, it's all part of it.
Yeah, it's where the growth is.
For sure. For sure. Now, how long then have you been a coach and business strategist for now?
Yeah. So I started I got the idea in 2015. I started in 2016. And I started my journey actually as a network marketing coach, because at that time, that's just what I felt I was good at and experience in. And so that was sort of the launch pad for me to actually get into coaching.
Okay.
A year and a half into coaching network marketing, my passion for it just wasn't what it needed to be in order to make it successful. But what I did find in that moment, so here's one of those moments where like it didn't necessarily work out so much, but it led me to the thing that did, is I found a passion for the process of me creating that online business. And I wanted to teach other people what I was doing. I'd have people come to me and they'd say, oh, I really want to start this thing, or I've been thinking about, you know, how I could create this kind of business. And then I would just start going off. I'd be like, oh my gosh, well, you should do this. And you should do this. And you should do that here. And it was in a conversation with a friend one night, over a glass of wine. We were talking about all this stuff. And it was in that moment that I realized, shit, Shana, you're coaching the wrong thing. Like, this is what you should be doing. Like, listen to you, the passion, you know?
Yeah.
And so I switched gears in 2018, the summer of 2018. And you know what? It's funny. What led me to switch gears was that conversation and a failed launch. I did a launch, a network marketing course. I created a course.
Okay. And
it had 0 sales. I did a big webinar thing. Nobody joined. And it was in that summer, I was like, what am I doing? And that's when I realized I needed to pivot.
Yeah.
And so here's an example of something that you decide to do that didn't work out, but that led me to the thing that did. And it was in that moment that I realized I was coaching the wrong thing. And then I shifted gears. And so here we are today. I'm still doing the business strategy and the business coaching, mixed in with some mindset and design.
I love it. What's the most rewarding or inspiring part about being a coach and business strategist for you?
Definitely seeing my clients, you know, going from a place, because oftentimes my clients will come to me with just the seed of an idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have all the disbelief and they have the vision, but they have the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome and stuff. And there's one thing about when you spend time with me, you'll definitely be taking actions that you don't normally, you know, see yourself taking. So I love my clients overcome like a lot of times they have technical blocks. Like they're like, I just can't figure out the technology. And it's like, once I show you this and you see how you could do this, like you'll be surprised. And then they learn and then they do it. And then they're like, I did this. Like I created my own website or I did this thing. And it's like, yes, you did. I told you could do this. And so seeing them, you know, step out of their own comfort zones and do things that they never thought they could. That's probably the biggest fulfillment piece for me as a coach.
What a feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I read that your superpower is the ability to activate people into action, which is what you had just mentioned. How do you go about that though? Like what is one of your key strategies to get people motivated or to activate people?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, I always say, and I've said this from, you know, every time I talk with somebody, I'm like, if I can figure this stuff out, anybody can. Because I think that sometimes people look at coaches or mentors like they're born with this special ability to do everything. And it's like, no, I didn't have these abilities when I started coaching. Like I had to fumble my way through these as well. And so one of the things that I pride myself in is being super authentic. And I'll tell my clients all the stories of the heartache, the struggle, all the things that I went through. And I think that when they can see themselves in me, then they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. If you can do this, I can do this. And so I'm real with them. And then I show them how to do it. Like oftentimes with my clients, we're on Zoom and I'm like taking over the controls and I'm going in behind the scenes on their tech and their stuff. And I'm showing them, you know, you click here and you do this and you do that. And it's like, I partner with them. I'm not just telling them what to do and they're out there trying to figure it out. I'm like, if you the last thing I want is my clients to feel stuck in what they're doing. So if it means an extra phone call or an extra Zoom call or an extra whatever, I want to make sure that they're getting what they need so that they can feel empowered to keep going in their business. And so that's how I activate people. It's like, I'm never going to leave you stuck. We're always going to figure it out. Even if I don't know, because sometimes they ask me how to do something technically or whatever. And I'm like, ooh, I've never done this before. Let's see if we can figure it out. Like, how do you connect 3 different Google calendars together? So I don't know. Let's go in the back end and see what we can do,
Yeah. So, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, that helps them, cause they can see, that what they can do. And yeah, it's just something that
I think that's a great way of learning too. I mean, as opposed to just telling someone how to do it and then here you go, do it, but jumping in and showing them and again, like you said, being authentic and, hey, you know what, if you don't know it, I really don't know how to do this, but let's figure it out together. Going through it together, I think, is a huge thing.
Well, and I think that's a big gap in the coaching industry because I think that there's a lot of people who create programs, which I have an online program as well, and you can self-pace your way through it if you want to. But I think that there's a level of connection that's missing sometimes where the student or the client doesn't get access to the coach when they need it. They may have all the information in front of them, but sometimes people get blocked in different ways. And if they're sitting there watching a module on how to do something and they still can't figure it out, oftentimes there's not that place where you can go, hey, I'm stuck here. Can you help me? Can you walk me through this? And so I think that that's important to have an element of that as much as possible with your clients so that they're never, feeling stuck or alone. Because I think that's a huge thing as entrepreneurs. We're often going through these experiences alone, trying to figure out all the things. And there's sometimes we need someone to bounce ideas and get the know-how.
Absolutely. Now, do you work only with women?
That's a good question. I don't. I actually had a prospecting call this week with a gentleman who who I know I can help and I would love to help him. And so he's working on figuring it out. But I know when, like for what I teach about creating your ideal client, I know for me, women are I've always worked with women. My network marketing business, I always worked with women. It's just my comfort zone.
Yeah.
To be totally honest, I have to say working with guys sometimes intimidates me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. Cause I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know why. I feel like there's like a little bit of, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how to pinpoint it, but I'm totally open to working with men for sure. Okay. I just always been women that have been attracted to my brand. Right. Now my brand, if you look at it, it is very feminine. It's pink and yellow and it's a lot of that stuff, but yeah. Okay. It would be a challenge. I would take it.
and I know you welcome challenges.
Yes, I do. Not afraid.
Now, you've also created the Dream Hustle Academy. Can you tell us a bit about that and what the motivation was behind it, as well as the mission for Dream Hustle Academy?
Yes, for sure. Well, it's funny because, when I decided I wanted to do business coaching, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to teach? And so I was like, because the thing is oftentimes your ideal clients are a former version of yourself.
Right.
So when I looked back at where I was when it was like, okay, Shana, it's time to start this coaching business, I had to go, okay, well, what did I do? What did I do to start? And I had some mentorship and someone showed me the steps. So I was like, well, what if I took all the steps that I learned in starting my business and put them into an accessible format so people could come in and they could just learn from the steps that I was given. And so that was the inspiration for creating the Academy. It's in its second evolution. I had created it once, and then this past spring, when COVID hit and I knew people needed, resources to be able to figure out how to get online with, the life changing, rapidly, I created a second evolution, updated modules, added more information, like really wanted to make it the best it could possibly be to serve people. And I just put in everything that I knew had worked for me in creating my business. And I wanted it to be affordable was one of the big things.
Yeah.
I wanted people to be able to get access to the information. And I also wanted it to be, easy to follow. Like I wanted it to be like, you know, you start with phase one, which is all about clarity and really getting clear on what it is that you want to create. And then you move into, you know, your creating connection. So your social media platforms and stuff. So it's like each section of the academy builds on the next. So that people can easily just sort of go, okay, 1, 2, 3, and there's only 5 phases. So it's not super overwhelming. So people can kind of get in and just start. And by the time they're done, they have their offer created and they're launching it out in the world. And the other pieces that I added to the academy is a Facebook group that people can come in and ask questions, get the feedback. I'm in that Facebook group every single day. So that they have that connection to me. And as well as I also saw the benefit of having a monthly Zoom call where they could come in and talk to me and ask questions. Okay. So I tried to create it as an affordable program that people could do it self-paced, but yet still have some access to me to ask questions. So I tried to make it as that had all of the things that I knew were helpful for me. In my business. So,
well, I think the Facebook group is a great idea too, because I mean, that gives them a sense of community, but it also, I mean, that community, if they can't get a hold of you, or if you're, you know, not accessible at that moment, they've also got the members of the group to rely on to ask questions and help.
It's so cool to see that. Cause like there are times where someone's posted something and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. And by the time I do get to it, there's already 5 or 6 members who have been like, oh, this is great, but here I would do this, or, you know, adjust this, or like they would just cheer each other on. And I think that you're right. That community is so important.
Oh, it's integral for sure. And I mean, I guess it's kind of like, a little bit like group therapy too. When someone stands up and speaks, it gives everybody else in that group or in that setting permission. Like, because you know how some people are very nervous or scared about being the first one to get up and say, I need help.
Yeah.
So it gives them permission.
It's so true. And it's actually really awesome because that happened in the group in August. Someone had reached out and posted in the group saying that they felt like, you know, they were kind of feeling alone and they just, you know, they were struggling. And, you know, she was just like, is anybody else feeling like this? Is there any tips? And you know what? I just instantly saw that post and went, you know what? Let's have a PJ and wine Zoom, you know, all together. But I'm like, because, you know, it was COVID and like, can't go anywhere and all that stuff. And I said, what if we got together and just did a social? Like, we didn't talk about business. We just kind of socially got together and it was so much fun. We all had our pajamas on. We all had a glass of wine. We jumped on
That's awesome.
the room and we just chatted and shared things that were going on personally. And just supported each other. And so we've decided to make that kind of like a quarterly thing with the members of the academy. So
I think that also creates a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't figure out the word, but it also creates a bond of trust among the community as well by doing these types of things, which is great.
Yeah. Some of my best friends have come from group coaching programs and communities like that I've been a part of. You know, the relationships that you build when you're a part of something like that, they are game changers as far as, you know, your business goes, because it's somebody you can talk to that understands and gets what you're going through because they're going through the same thing.
Exactly. Now, you're also a host of the host of a podcast called Dream Hustle with Shana Recker. How long ago did you start the podcast and what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, it's funny. I started that in 2017, maybe. It was end of 2016 or beginning of 2017, I think. And, you know, I saw other successful business coaches out there having podcasts. I'm somebody who's like, oh, is this working for you? Okay, well, then I guess I should do it too. And like, you know, again, not afraid. It was just, I somersaulted my way through that as well. My husband, you know, figured out how to edit and I just, you know, I bought the microphone and, you know, set up the Buzzsprout and all the things. And I just started doing it. And, you know, the premise of my podcast has always been, because my podcast used to be called Keeping It Real with Shana Recker, and I evolved it to Dream Hustle, but that's been the whole premise of my podcast from day one, is just to be real and authentic and talk about what it's like to build an online business with kids and dogs and cats and, you know, family and struggles and all the things. Like, it's just, It's just about, hey, this is what I'm going through right now in my business. Like, I'm sure if I'm going through this, you are too. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
That's just always what I've done. And it's also, I like to interview entrepreneurs because I love to share their stories about how they got into entrepreneurship to inspire other people to say like, oh, this is how she did it. I could do this too.
Yeah.
She was a teacher and now she's a coach. Oh, I could do this too. Like, it's that kind of inspiration as well. So
I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
What are some of the challenges you faced early on in your business, and how did you overcome those?
Well, one of my biggest challenges, and it's something that still creeps up for me today, is getting over the nattering voice in my head that, if I go to do a live video, or I want to, get myself out there and get the visibility, like do an IGTV or to go live on Facebook, is to stop the talk in my head of what are people going to think when you go and say this? Are you right? Like, what if you're wrong? Like those kinds of things that come up before you go to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. And I think that's probably been my biggest challenge, because I can do the technology, no problem. I can figure out the strategies. I can see what people are doing. I know how to put, connect A to B to C. But where my biggest challenges are is just getting over that fear of judgment, which I was given advice. And if you do struggle with this as well, this has been the best thing to help me get through it, which is if you are worrying about what other people are going to think about you, you are thinking about yourself and not the people that you serve. So when I have a little self-talk with myself before when I'm starting to feel those like feelings of, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Is this right? What if I'm wrong? All those kinds of things. And I go, do you believe in what you're saying? Mm-hmm. Yes. The people that you serve, will they benefit from this? Yes. Then just go live and do it.
Just do it.
Right? Just do it. And so oftentimes I'll be staring at the button and thinking about what I'm going to say and listening to that chatter and talking myself out of it. And then out of nowhere, I'll just go and hit the button. And once you hit the button, you're live. Like, you got to do it.
Yeah. I have to.
And then I just go. And so that's been how I've, overcome that. But it does creep in. It does creep in a lot, and it's definitely something that I work through daily.
Well, there's that saying, other people's opinions of you are none of your business, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yourself of that.
To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
My greatest win. I think that my biggest win, I feel like sometimes I feel like I haven't had it yet. I feel like I'm still moving, I'm still growing, and I'm still figuring it out. And I think the biggest win is, continuing to keep going, even when it feels like things aren't working.
Yeah.
And, it seems odd. You'd think the biggest win is like, oh, I had this like big month, or I did a $25,000 launch, or I did this, or I did that. And those things are great. But I think the bigger wins come when you overcome the times that it doesn't feel like it's working. Because if you can keep going even through the shit, that's what grows you, and that's what makes you better, and that's what makes you a better person and a better human and a better coach and a better mom and a better wife and all of those things. And I think that's where the wins are for me. And those things happen. Like those things happen in your business. Entrepreneurship is not an arrow going straight up. It is definitely a lot of twists and turns and curves and things. And if you can keep going, even when you're in a moment of feeling like you're just in the smack dab middle of a bunch of shit, that's when you are winning.
Yeah. That's the key, is to keep pushing on, because you never know how close you are to go taking it to that next level.
Right. And oftentimes, the shitty moments come right before the big trend. Like
that's right.
Big that's right. So you have to remind yourself of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Can you share a situation that's occurred in your life that you feel provides insight as to your character, who Shana is?
Yeah, sure. Like who is Shana? That's a really good question. I think Shana, a moment in time, I don't know if I have a specific moment, but, lots of moments of me just putting myself out there, even when I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that as part of my character, I'm somebody who will take the leap without looking. I can definitely do the scary things, even though, even when I don't have a clue how it's going to turn out. And like I said, I'm an activator. That's something that I do for myself, and that's something I like to help my clients do. So it's those moments of me taking action when I really had no idea what I was doing. And I think that's how I've gotten to where I am today.
Yeah.
And, even starting my network marketing business, even right back down to, I've been divorced. I look at my life and I think of all the times that I took action, even though it was scary. Like I said, my first divorce and living on my own with 2 kids, and then, getting back into the dating world again, and then, getting married and starting over again, and then having a 3rd baby, when I thought I was done, and all these things where I was just sure, let's just do it. This is what, I'm just following my heart. This feels good. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And, I think that sort of action activator, action taker in me has just led me to some really great things in my life. And, I don't know if I answered that very well.
No, that's perfect. I love it. That of course, that shows exactly who you are. All these things that you've done and where you've been and where you are now. Absolutely. They show us who you are as a woman, as a person, for sure.
Yeah.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
For me, what makes me feel inspired is, what makes me feel like my best self.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I do, and I actually do it, it's almost like therapy, is I love to paint. I'm an artist.
Oh, okay.
And so I say I'm an artist. I say that loosely, but I love to paint. And so I've really just recently connected the fact that when I put myself into, we have this what we call the art shed. It's a shed at the back of our house, and we've turned it into an art studio, because my husband actually is an artist for part of his career.
Yeah.
And so we have this shed that we've created, and I go back in there with a blank canvas. I put on the best music that I'm a big fan of 90s rock. So I listen to
I love it.
Yeah. I have my playlist. The 90s were good. And I will listen to my 90s music, and I have my paint clothes on, and I just start creating. And it's when I get into that space and I start just flowing with the music, flowing with the paint, I become the most inspired. I become the most aligned energetically. I feel good. And it's therapy for me. And when I have the weekends where I spend my time in the art shed making, it's I always get inspired to do something, or I get an idea, or I just feel my best self when I've spent time in there. And so I had 2 actual, I sometimes will go and talk to, I don't know what they're called, not psychics, but they're Reiki masters, intuitive healers.
Okay.
I'm all into the woo.
Yeah.
And both of them told me that I need to spend more time creating, and neither of them knew that I actually did that. And they said, you spend more time having fun and creating art, being in that space.
Yeah. So
now I've made that a thing that I, at minimum once a month, if not more, as many times as I possibly can, to get in there and get creating, because that's where I'm aligned in there.
That's awesome. It's escapism for you.
Oh, it's there. It's meditation. It's therapy. It's everything for me. So
isn't it an incredible feeling being in that creative zone, just being in it, completely immersed?
And the cool thing is there's no expectations for what I'm creating.
Yeah.
I go into it, with some ideas of what I think I want to create, but I let it unfold how it needs to. And, sometimes in the middle of a painting, I'm looking at it going oh my God, what is this? And then the next morning I come back to it and I add another layer, and all of a sudden it all comes together.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun watching it just unfold.
Yeah. Especially onto a blank canvas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's amazing. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received, as far as life or business. Well, here's exactly what it is. Your thoughts become things. And when you can understand that what you're thinking is what's actually creating your future, and you understand how that works, the thoughts become things works, you can control your destiny. You can control what's going to happen in the future by understanding and controlling your thoughts. And once I learned that mindset shift, my entire life has changed. I understand now the shitty times in my life. I understand how those developed because I know where I was in those moments leading up to that. I know where I was energetically. I know where I was in my thinking. And now I can see the connection between what I was thinking and what was going on in my, like what happened in my future. Mm-hmm. And so that to me, it's power. It's understanding how your thoughts work is what gives you that control over your life. And so once I learned that and understood these concepts of the power of your thinking, it's literally changed my life.
That's a great accomplishment. It takes a lot of self-work. Mm-hmm. I mean, it takes a long time to get there, or takes time to get there. I shouldn't say a long time because it doesn't take everybody a long time, but it takes time to get there. But if you put in the self-work, you'll get there.
It's awareness. Like you have to become aware of what's going on in your mind at any given moment and know that it's not about beating yourself up for the thoughts that you were having. It's about creating that awareness and going, oh, I'm thinking this, that's not where I need to be, and shifting and making the choice to change what you're thinking about. And then you make the shift. You do what you need to do to get out of the negative thinking. Because here's the thing, the negative thinking is going to happen. It happens to all of us, even when you know and understand these concepts. It's a matter of creating that awareness that, oh, I'm not feeling great. I need to do something to shift my vibration. So go for a walk, go in the art shed, or go meditate, or go read a good book, or watch some funny videos, or whatever it is you need to do. Yeah. To move yourself into a better feeling place. Yeah. And that's step one is creating that awareness. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What is one book that you would like to suggest to listeners?
I have two, actually.
Okay, sure.
The first book is called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Mm-hmm. It is a book that talks all about resistance and procrastination and how we can overcome resistance and procrastination. When we get something we want to do in our mind, or we get like this feeling of like, wanting to create the business or write the book or, do the thing. Resistance and procrastination and fear, really, are all the same thing. Will creep in, because when you go for a goal, you change. It changes who you are, and ego wants you to stay the same, right? Ego wants us to stay the same. They don't want us to change. It's scary when change happens. And so resistance and procrastination will come in so strong, and you'll find yourself avoiding all the things you need to do in order to make your goals happen, in order to change your life. So The War of Art, it's kind of a funny book. He's a bit crass, but the messaging that he shares in there about how to recognize procrastination and resistance and how to overcome it. When you understand what's going on, then it's about creating the awareness and then taking the actions to be able to move through it. And so that's absolutely one of my favorite books.
I'll have to check that one out for sure.
Oh, it's so good. The audiobook is awesome. He actually is the narrator, and it's really good. Okay. And then the second book that I always recommend is called U Squared by Price Pritchard. Okay. And U Squared is all about having a quantum leap in your life, which means you drastically changing where you are in moving to where you want to be. And he talks about how you basically have to do things completely differently than you've ever done in your entire life in order to make these changes. He tells the story in the beginning of the book of the fly. And I'll tell you the story because it'll give you a really good understanding of this book. Okay. He talks about this fly who's wanting to escape. He's inside this restaurant. He notices this fly just hitting the window over and over and over again. And the fly desperately wants to get outside. And so the fly keeps trying harder and harder and harder to get through the window, only to get exhausted. And eventually the fly is going to die. But if the fly could only see that if he did a 180, there's an open door across the room and he could literally fly to freedom. But instead of doing something different, he keeps trying harder and harder and harder to achieve this result that's not happening. And eventually the fly, as you know, you've probably seen many dead flies in a window. Yes. The fly dies. So the book is all about how to make that 180 in your life and find that freedom, or find that desire, or accomplish the goals that you want to have happen. And it's a lot of mindset. It's a lot of different thinking and taking different actions. So it's an amazing book.
Interesting. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results?
100%. But sometimes people don't see that. This book will awaken you to seeing how you need to do something differently.
I will have to check that one out too.
Well, and I look at that in my own life. Like I was a graphic designer working, for a corporate agency for 15 plus years, trying to get to this, this place, financially. And I was working hard and never getting where I needed to go. And then network marketing came into my life, which was a totally different route, never something I'd ever thought of doing. And I took the opportunity, and then that changed my life. I got out of the corporate grind and I was an entrepreneur. And then that led me to the coaching, which again was another 180 that's brought me to another whole different place. Right. So it's about taking those leaps.
For sure. What would you say is one of your favorite quotes?
My favorite quote, it's actually in my office. It's one of my favorite quotes. I think I have a few, but this is framed in my office, and it says, "We shape our destiny if we believe in the beauty of our dreams." And I believe, I forget who said that. It's,
I like it.
Yeah. It's, and it's about it's all about, having faith and believing in what it is that you want and knowing that that's possible for you. If you believe in it and you have faith and you take the action, you can make, and anything is possible. Anything is possible. It's crazy, but anything is possible if you believe in it and you take the right actions. And so that's something that I constantly think about.
I think that's one of the biggest parts of that, though, is taking the action, putting in the work to do it.
Oh, 100%. You can't just, have a vision. People think law of attraction. It's well, I think about this thing every
it's going to happen.
But you're not doing anything for it. Yeah. It's the action is so important. And it's what leads you to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing,
for
right?
Sure.
You don't get any feedback if you're not taking any action.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What does the word success mean to you? How do you define that? Yeah.
Success to me is waking up every day feeling fulfilled, in what you're doing and what's going on in your family. It's like all the things. It's making sure that you are, not making sure, but it's success is when you can wake up every day and be excited about what's going on in your life. It's not necessarily a money thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, a celebrity status thing or whatever. To me, it's if I can wake up every day and I can love what I'm doing for work, I get to, have my healthy family and, spend time with my kids, have my husband there and just wake up every day feeling really good about what I'm doing and who I'm with and how I'm spending my time. That to me is success. It's a feeling more than it is a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like to be remembered?
Ooh, that's a big one. I want to be remembered as I think, it's funny when you said that, I instantly thought of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
How do I want my kids to remember me? Not necessarily the world, but when my kids think about their mom and what do they say about me, it's my mom wasn't afraid to try. My mom wasn't afraid to do things. My mom really she put herself out there and she wasn't afraid, even though there probably was some fear. Let's be honest.
But you still did it. That's the point.
Right. I want them to feel that same. I want them to be inspired by that because I want them to do the same for themselves. I want them to not be, if there's something that they desire, there's something that they're passionate about, I would never want them to hold back because of fear. I want them to do. And so to me, that's important. So it's important for how they remember me by, and I hope that they see that in myself and that they learn from that and use that themselves.
I love that. That's beautiful. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? Well, definitely, obviously, my family and all of those things. But I love, I have a dog that sometimes even though he looks at me and he wants to go for a walk and I'm like, oh, fine. Let's go, especially in the dead of cold of winter and stuff. But I love when I get out there with him, and I mean, there's lots of things that make me smile, I should say, but this is definitely one that comes up for me is when you see something beautiful in nature. I remember one time when it was at that exact moment where my dog was like, I want to go for a walk. It was the winter, it was snowing, it's dark. And I was like, oh, but I put my gear on and I took him out anyways. And I walked past this field that's just down the street from my house, and it was snowing and these lights were on and there was all these deer in the middle of this field. And I remember looking at it and I was like, it literally almost brought me to tears. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
It was just like, I was like, instead of feeling disgruntled about having to walk in the snow, I instantly was like so grateful that I went out and I saw this beautiful scene. So it's like things in nature that just kind of happen like that just, I don't know, they just make me smile. They just make me happy.
That's awesome. What gives you the motivation to keep going?
I don't know. Like, I just love doing what I do. Like, I just love seeing, the results. I love going for something. I mean, life is about expanding and, it's about growth. And that's what we're here to do as human beings. We're here to expand and grow and, become fuller and fuller as humans. And so it's like, we're never done. Like, there's never going to be a time where I don't have a goal that I'm going for.
Yeah.
So that motivates me every day. It's like, what's next for today? Like, what am I doing next? Like, after this happens, what's next? Like, I don't think I'll ever be sitting in my chair going, okay, I've done everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something else to strive for and to do. And, that just, motivates me every day is just the growth. It's like, what am I going to learn today? How am I going to expand today? What's next?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is your personal motto?
Just get out there and do it. It's funny. My husband is in the last 6 months has decided he went from being a really amazing brand designer, which still has that business. And he still does some of it, but he's made the shift into becoming a pop artist. He wants to become a well-known pop artist.
Okay.
And, it's a big transition becoming an artist because there's a lot of like, all of a sudden you're going from, having clients and doing design work to now you're creating pieces of art that you're hoping someone will buy.
Yes. Oh yes. It's
right?
not
like,
easy.
It's a whole different mindset.
For sure.
But the thing is like, it's like, here's the thing. You can't discover if this is going to happen for you if you don't just get out there and start doing it.
That's right.
Doing it. And so last winter, it was hot, it was Christmas, and, obviously his business really quiets down at Christmas. And it was I just looked at him. I said, go buy canvases, like go start doing this. And he do it. Yeah. Yeah. And he just did it and he just started doing it. And that's just totally what I believe in is like, you got to just go and go for it. And, and today, like we're almost 7-8 months in, and he has created some amazing pieces. He's, for an artist, he's already, he's had 10K months as an artist,
awesome,
selling his artwork already. And like, that wouldn't have happened if he didn't just freaking go for it.
Right. That's right.
And
you have to throw caution to the wind and just do it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to do it. And that may mean making scary investments that you're not 100% prepared for. It may mean putting yourself out there in a new and different way. It may mean, having to say no to certain things that, you're used to saying yes to in order to make it happen. There's a lot of scary things that you may have to go through, but you'll never know unless you do it.
That's right.
Yeah. Now he's on his way.
There we go. Well, good for him. Congratulations to him. I think that's amazing. More people need to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just going to give him a little plug, but you can check
Sure, of course.
JasonRecker.com. You can see all of his artwork there. He's got some really cool Rolling Stone covers and some cool stuff that he's done. So
awesome. Check it out, folks. What's the first thing you notice about a person?
I'm a big, I can sense people's energy pretty quickly. So I feel like I can tell if people are like positive energy people or if they're kind of negative energy people. Cause I definitely pick up on negative energy really quickly.
Yeah.
And there have been people in my life that I've had to literally distance myself from because their negative energy was just so I'm so sensitive to it. So I feel like I can pick up on people's energy fairly quickly. And so I notice that. And not to say that, some people just have bad days and things like that, but I can, generally tell if I'm going to jive with somebody or not.
Yeah, for sure.
Quickly.
Yeah, for sure. What is the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
I actually hired a mindset coach just in June, the end of June. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those scary investments that I was like, I knew I wanted it. I just was a little bit fearful of making the commitment.
Yeah.
But it's been the best investment I ever made for sure. And
awesome.
Yeah. And it's been so great. And here's the thing, anytime I've made these investments in myself, even if I, only had the first payment kind of thing.
Yeah.
The money, once you make that commitment and you say yes to the thing, the money will find you. The things that you need will find you. I've never not been able to pay for something, even when I really didn't have the money, all the money in the bank. The money always found me. So I've learned that. And when it comes to investing in myself and investing in these kinds of things, I have that faith that it will work out.
If you came with a warning label, what would that label say?
I talk too much. Be prepared. I'm probably going to have things that come out of my mouth that, you're going to be like, what? What are you saying? Talk to my husband.
I love it.
He knows.
What was your very first job?
Oh, my very first job was working in in London, Ontario here. There's a park, it's called Victoria Park, and it has festivals that happen on the weekends. And so my very first job was flipping French fries, doing the French fries at a French fry hot dog stand. Okay. And I think I got paid like $2 an hour or something. I thought I was like a millionaire.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah, it was like I was like 13 or something. My mom's friend was doing it, but I've always worked. I've had a job since a very young age, and I've always been that kind of person where I've always wanted to work and make money and fend for myself, kind of thing. So
yeah, money or fame?
Money.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
It means being your authentic self, putting yourself out there authentically, and sharing your message, sharing your wisdom, sharing your gifts with the world, and not worrying about what anybody else is going to think of it.
I love it. Lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be, Shana?
Stop caring about what everybody else thinks and just do it. 100%.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Shana, thank you so much. This has been a very fun chat. It's been very interesting. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and be part of this community that I'm creating and share your journey and your insights with me and with the audience today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. It's been quite funny, I must say.
Well, I'm glad. I love to entertain.
And that you certainly did. I appreciate you. And again, I appreciate you being here and sharing today.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, folks, this is Brad Welsh, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Shana Recker. She is a business strategist with a passion for mindset. Thanks, Shana. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you.
Talk soon. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.